Today I'm going to tie a glow bug using McFLYFOAM and a pin. First thing I'm going to do is disassemble the pin, so I just get the tube. They sell these in kits, but you can use them just a regular pin. I'm going to break off a nice clump of McFLYFOAM, and I can't tell you the right amount, but it's about the amount that will fit through the barrel of the pin. I'm going to thread some string through it, or some fly line backing, and I'm going to use that to pull the McFLYFOAM back up through the barrel of the pin, and I'm just going to hook onto just the end of the foam and loop that through the loop of string, and I just tie a knot in the other end. Once I get it lassoed, I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to pull it all the way through the pin. Once I get that through, I'm basically ready to start tying. I'm going to clean up the other end, and you don't have to use the clown. You can use this with just a straight color, and then I like to prep the end so that it's nice and clean to start with. Once you start tying, you can actually move from one fly to the other without actually losing anything. I'm going to tie on a Dairiki number 135 and a size 6. For Steelhead I use a size 6 and a size 8. And then I'm going to use some gel spun thread in white in 50. It's just a really strong thread that allows me to get a real tight wrap on the McFLYFOAM. I'm going to go back to about the 30% mark on the hook, and one of the things I do is just put some Zap-A-Gap on that to really lock it down and make sure that this absolutely won't spin. This stuff's really slick. So I'm going to wrap over it a couple more times until I just get that all incorporated in there and build a nice base. And then one of the things I do is bring in a paper towel and just wipe off any excess so I don't get that all over my McFLYFOAM and my pen. So I'm going to prep the end and just get just enough out of the end to get a bite on it. You really don't want too much, no more than about 1/4 of an inch. And then what I do is I'm going to lasso that with my thread, and then I'm going to bring it down to the hook, and then I'm going to go straight all the way over. And when you're doing these wraps, you're doing them right up against the end of the barrel of the pen, and a couple loose wraps to start with, sort of as in a figure 8, and then I really start binding down, almost to the point where you're bending the hook. I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to go back the other direction. I'm going to be figure 8ing on the other side of the eye, and we're keeping as much tension on this thread at all times. And then every once in a while I'll throw a couple loops on the head of the fly to lock down the previous set of wraps. And as you can see now, it's holding the pen up because I've got a number of thread wraps on there. So I'm going to keep going until I get this completely locked down. And then I'm going to rotate the vise just so you can see it, and then I'm going to pull out just a little bit, and I'm going to pull out a little bit more than I actually need so that it's ready to go for the next fly. And then I'm going to come in at about the 1/4 inch mark again and make my cut. And that's basically the fly. From here forward, we're just preening and pruning. As you can see, the McFLYFOAM still spins a little bit on the hook, and that's one of the reasons that I use a fair amount of super glue on these. I'm going to tighten everything down, and I'm going to come in and whip finish, and then I'll just go about cleaning up the egg. This stuff's really, really slick stuff, so you can do a 10-turn whip finish with no problem. And then get up there and cut my thread. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get out my Zap-A-Gap again, and I've got a needle that's inserted on an X-Acto knife body, and I'm going to use that to really lock down the wraps and the foam to the hook itself. So just do a little bit of preening and pruning until we've got a general round shape. They don't have to be perfect. I'm going to transfer some of that onto my needle, and I'll do this a couple of times, and so I'm going to pass these into the thread wraps that are up underneath the head. I tie these right up against the head so that once you you tie them on your line, the only thing that you can really see is just the hook protruding out of the back. I'm going to come in from the back side and do the same thing, and those get sucked right up in there, and I'm going to pull the McFlyFoam down on top of that. And I'll do one more here just to finish it off. And that'll lock everything down on the hook really nice and tight. Give it a few seconds to dry and you're good. And now you've got a nice, perfect round egg that's ready to go. I like the bigger hooks because they're a little bit of weight added onto them. This would be my winter steelhead size in a number 6. Nice clean yarn ball egg. Hope that helps.